So that's the changes in relation to the resident profile page. We'll now move on to charts and assessment forms. There have been a few changes made to the charts and to the assessment forms and how they look. The restraint charts, there's drop-down options for the type of restraint and the triggers for those for the use of that particular type of restraint, whether it's a physical restraint or a chemical restraint. Obviously, if you're completing restraint charts, then you need to make sure that all of the necessary information has been populated in that chart. We now have an activities of daily living chart. These have been in the iCare system for a while. However, Uniting chose not to activate the ADL chart because there was a choice to choose that the person was independent, which obviously was a high risk. That choice is now gone. So Uniting have decided that the activities of daily living chart will be quite beneficial. It is good to help reinforce ACFI claims and ACFI evidence. For staff, they need to ensure that the information that they're putting on the ADL chart matches the information that is outlined in the care plan. If it is different, then they need to make sure that they are reporting that to their supervisor so that reassessment can take place to ensure that our care plans are accurate to the residents' current needs. There is a section in the ADL charts for hygiene, skin integrity, dressing and grooming, and toileting. And staff select the assistance that is required for each of those options. The pain and the wound charts are essentially the same as what they were before. However, both of them now have a compulsory review date added in there. So staff must enter a review date for any pain and wound chart entry that they make. The behaviour charts haven't changed. We're just taking this opportunity to reinforce the importance of adding complete information in there. So the information that's recorded should inform what happened, why it happened, what action was taken, and what the result of that action was. If there has been an entry on the behaviour chart, an intervention has been added, then staff need to go back into those behaviour charts to say whether it worked or not. So staff need to go back in and evaluate to record the effectiveness of the intervention. That note will then automatically go through to the progress notes. At present, staff quite often fill out the behaviour chart, but then they go to the progress note to write the intervention. If it's all recorded on the behaviour chart, it gives a lot clearer visibility on what staff action was and what the result of that action is. It still ends up in the progress note because when you complete it on the behaviour chart, it will automatically add that note to the progress note. So they were the only changes for the charts. The assessment tools have an updated look, and just be mindful if you are printing out your assessment forms and you have entered more than one response into a box or a field on that assessment form, only one option will print out. The mobility assessment will be mapped into the evacuation report. So the assessments look a bit different and their functionality is a bit different, and I will show you this at the end of this session. So you can click on the toggle, the little arrow on the left-hand side of the assessment form to minimize the assessment. If you want to expand the assessment, then you need to click and hold on the little lines in the center of that assessment at the edge of the assessment form to pull the assessment form across the screen. Just be mindful that if you do that, some assessment forms take a while to complete. iCare puts up an alert just before it closes you out. It's because you've been in there for too long. If you expand the assessment form over the screen, it may block out your disconnect prompt box. So always leave a bit of room on the side of the page so that you can see those prompts. Yeah. In your assessment form, when you open up the assessment form, there will be blue folders down the side of the assessment form. When you hover over those blue folders, it will show you where the assessment information will map into the care plan. In the previous version, if you wanted to select more than one option from an assessment drop-down box, you would click on Control Enter. You don't do that anymore. Once you've selected one option or two options, if you can still click your mouse into the box next to your last option, then it will enable you to select another option. If you can't put your cursor in the box, then you can't select another option for that particular question. On your AO1, question 39 and question 40 are compulsory, and they provide evidence of consultation and agreement on assessment details, which are required under the aged care quality standards, in particular, Standard 1, choice and decision making. It's also required under Standard 2 and Standard 3.